Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Brent Bridgeman and you're watching the JFL Boat Build Series right here. Anyway, I'm in my car right now because I've been working on a customer's boat that got run up on the rocks below the Wilson Dam, and I've got that thing almost finished. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm taking a lunch break right here called the Pie Factory. They have a location in Jasper, a location here in Muscle Shoals, which is where I'm at, and a location in Florence. So if you get a chance, you get to build your own pizza. It's a 10-inch pizza. It's, you know, right around 10 bucks. Good atmosphere, good food, and the calzones are to die for. But anyway, we're gonna get right into this one. You guys already seen how we attached this side piece, and then later, after we get all this, we're gonna use the pajama material to cover everything, and then we'll resin this probably in the next segment. Running out of time today, and if you guys want me to get this up on the channel, then I'm gonna have to do that. So where is that? I just cut a piece exactly perfect for that. It's the match to this. Oh, laid it on the bench. Typical. Anything to make me climb out of the boat. All right, so in this instant, same thing. We're gonna use a hot glue gun. Now I've got that one over there on a similar, so we're gonna go right here on the edge of this. It's actually gonna come in here. I want them to be the same on both sides. All right. Right there. It's pitched back a little bit. I want them to be pitched back a little bit. Then this inside's gonna dip in and dip in. So I got them pitched back just a little bit. And so this will be the top and outside of this console. And now if you look down here, it's actually level with the outside original dash right here. So it's not sticking out any further in the aisle than it already was. So this is in its original location. And we know this because this is in the original location. So this piece here, yes, it's taller than what was down here because the other console come like this, about in this area. But the steering wheel was also down here. Now we got the steering wheel up here. So we want to build the console to partially protect the meters, but also we're gonna build like a slight arc here as like a windshield, and then we'll bring that Ranger, the piece that I showed you with the red metal flake, the badging will be right here. So this will take a dip up and to the sides, and we're gonna get there by adding pieces that will come from here. It'll dip in a little bit, and then it's going to come out like here. So it'll be like this. This will tie into here. So if you can picture that, and then this will come in here, and then down here we'll make a gradual bevel out to here. But we'll make that work. But it's taking shape. I mean, it's where we want it to be. So the top of the console will be, you know, well within this area here, which is good. So now what we're going to do is we'll do the framing, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to fiberglass the back sides of these. Actually, I should probably fiberglass the back side of this first because I can get to it really easy. But I wanted to put these here so I know where I'm at. That's fine. But anyway, that's when I sit in there, now I can see the height, you know, that's going to be. It's still, I can still see, even with the console right here, so even with the console top right here, even if I'm sitting back, I can still see the whole entire dash up front. So I can still see the nose of the boat with no meters and no trolling motor, which means I'm relaxed and kicked back in this seat, but I can still see the nose of my boat. So there's nothing that's in front of me that's distracting from my peripheral vision. Now, if I sit up in the seat, I can see the entire recessed and even almost the back of this middle rod locker hinge. So if I need to see, I can sit in the seat straight, which most of the time you're up here like this, looking around. But now my meters, they can be, so this dash is going to dip in a little bit. Then I'll have a gauge right here in the middle that has all my telemetry of the engine, and then I'll have my trim gauge here, probably a trim gauge for the Bob's jack plate, and probably a trim gauge or water pressure, probably water pressure. So it'll be big gauge, little gauge, meter, meter. So just 2 big meters, and the meter may hang over here and may hang over here. But it's going to be a really cool, and then I'll have a gauge down here, and I'll have a gauge over here. This will be fuel, and this will be, I'll probably run my RPM gauge up here and then run all the information over here on the left. And I'll run my fuel gauge. Each tank has a fuel gauge. So I'll run 2 fuel gauges here and volts. So there'll be 3 little gauges over here on the right. And there'll be 1 information gauge over here on the left that does all the information. Then I'll have an RPM gauge up top so I can watch my RPMs. And then also I'll have my trim switch for the jack plate and trim for the engine. That way all your performance situation that you need to pay the most attention to is right in your center of your peripheral vision. So I'll be able to see trim, and RPM. Down here, if anything goes wrong, we not only have alarms, but it'll be visually perfect because that dash is now flat. So now we'll be able to see if there's anything going on with the engine. It'll give me an engine, and it also beeps and all that good stuff, you know, chimes. But then over here, we've remained with the old switch system to do the live wells, the bilge pumps, and this is going to have an auxiliary bilge pump as well as an automatic bilge pump. So 3 bilge pumps. You never know, but it's better to be safe than sorry. I know people say, oh, that's overkill, Brent. Yeah, it is. But if you know me about anything, I'm overkill. So this console is starting to take really good shape. I love the way it's starting to turn out. I know it doesn't make much sense to you guys, but I already see this here, and it's starting to make sense. And then once I start taking the pajama material from this lip back over this edge, but I'm going to first come in here and make sure this is even across here, and then I got to go pick up some more dowel rod. I got to get some more of this stuff, and I got to pick up 4 more of these, because back here I'm even building an extra piece where the old console used to exist, and we're building a belly pan on this so we can get underneath here, and then the whole bottom will be covered, so you won't be able to see any wiring, no hydraulic hoses. It'll be super clean under here. And I'm doing that partially for me, but partially because there's going to be a lot of people trying to see if there's a flaw, and I'm going to make sure that there's no flaws in this boat. I know that's a bold statement, but I might even do something really cool on the other side later, at a later time, during the off season between 26 and 27. I'm thinking about doing something over there. I got a couple ideas, but I'm just not going to mention it yet. But I'm coming up with a product that every boat needs that will be over there. So we'll talk about that later. But anyhow, I'm going to head to the store, pick up some more dowel rod during this storm, and I will continue building this frame today. And then if I get any extra time, I'll be fiberglassing the inside of this to make it strong. And then I've also got to get some cardboard on this floor. Even though we're not using this foam, it still doesn't mean that we should ruin it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to leave the foam in here for the whole duration of the build, because it's better than kneeling on fiberglass floor. So we'll leave this in here for the duration of the build, but once we're ready to do everything to the outside, cap and everything, this will get a new piece. I'm also building a new step. I'm debating if I want to build another bait box, or I want to keep this boat as light as possible. So I might not even put a step in there, but I think it needs it. And it already had one. So depending on how clean I can get this cubby hole will determine whether I put a step in there or not. But I think it needs a step. And I'll get my hands on some Kusa board and we'll make one. So that's the update on the driver's console that we are fabbing ourselves freehand. And then, like I said, this will have a slight curve to it, depending on how it looks. Will determine what we do with it. So anyhow, you can see the pocket in here turned out really cool, and this will be really nice for holding the long fishing rods. And then we're going to start working on the piece that goes over here, so we can use a stainless steel screw to go into the body of the boat. That'll hold that side of the console. Then we got two main bolts here in the front that are accessible under the rod locker where the tripod is sitting. Then we've got two more screws, stainless screws, that screw in the side over here. So that's a total of 5. And then we got one main one way down here, which makes 6. So it'd be 6 main. And I mean, look at this. I'm tugging on this thing, and it's not even finished yet, but it's going to be really solid. Once all the framing and all this is covered in glass, and then I reinforce the back, this will be really, 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 really strong. So, but I'm really happy with the product so far. It looks good. I'm going to go pick up some more dowel rod. So remember when I said I was going to make that piece? All right. Let me bring out this stand. Hang on. All right. So here's a close-up. What I've got here is a mixing cup covered in the packing tape, right? So it doesn't stick. I've got the shape that we need for the inside of that pouch. Now what this is going to do is this piece here is going to be the inset to hold the dash to the body of the boat. So we're going to fiberglass over that. Then once we get this fiberglassed, then when we cover this in gel coat, this piece will fill with gel coat a little bit and offer a thick background to hold a screw to the body of the boat. This will actually be part of the console, but the console will be removable. Then we'll take this piece and fiberglass it to the inside pocket. All right, so right here I've got, let me back out a little bit. So we've got a fan going for ventilation right here. You always want to have this when you're working, especially in the warm temperatures like we are right now. I've got the chop strand we're going to cut with scissors. We've got tape just in case we need it. It's just sitting here just in case we need it. We got both. We got the blue tape. We also have the packing tape. Right here, this is just outlining my border so I don't build too much fiberglass, because this is the only piece I need. But we're going to make this really thick. And then fiberglass over this. This is our hole. All right, so we're going to do that now. So let me cut the shapes. We did get a shipment. We got our new spray guns, our new rack. We got our new hose holder for the wall. All right, so on this piece, I kind of know the shape of it, right? Kind of know the shape of it. And what you want to do is make sure, see right there, you want to make sure that you especially on this piece, you want to make sure it's not just too okay. So that piece is there, perfect. And then once you have this, let's see here, yeah, right there in the front. See, I have cardboard underneath here so I can fill the beveled edge. So I'm going to cut it perfect. And once we get this piece cut, you're going to cut 3 more just like it. All right. I got a tiny bit of music playing, and it's on the country station, but this don't sound like country. But it's so low, so I don't get some copyright. I'll put some other sound effects or something around this. So once you get your shape, see, that's still a little too big. I'll trim the top off that. I sharpened these scissors a little bit yesterday, and they're working good for cutting fiberglass, but I'm going to get me a set of actual fiberglass scissors. All right. Messed up a little bit right there. Okay. So generally, well, that's too much there. Hole was not big enough for that cup. Okay, there we are. All right. All right, so now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to cut the same. Now, I save all these little pieces because, like when we do the top of this, see, I can cut that down to a small circle. I save all the scraps because the scraps you can, all right, the scraps you can mix up. Comes in handy. All right, so that'll go there. All right, that's that piece. So anytime I have a good piece, I set it aside. This piece I'm going to trim here. I'm using the other one as a stencil to cut this out. All right. All right. So then I take it and I cut the hole out, right? Now I have two identical pieces, right? All right, so this one's going to go on the bottom, but I need to trim that edge a little bit so it doesn't have the shaggy. Don't need shaggy across there. We're going to make this piece as precision as possible. That way we don't have to do too much work over. And then let's cut two more of these because we want it pretty thick. You know what I might do, actually? We'll do that on the top and the bottom. Let's bring in some thicker stuff because this is a structural piece that holds. Let's bring in some of this. This is woven. So let's get a piece of this woven out of here. Let's see if we can cut a piece off of here. See how sharp these scissors really are. So anytime you want a lot of strength, oh yeah, we're good. Put this woven in there, in between the layers. All right. All right. Okay, we'll use this one as a pattern. All right. All right. So we're going to use this woven for some strength. All right. Save that. Save all your fiberglass scraps. All right. Now cut across the bottom. All right. this woven, you got to take little short scissor cuts with it because it tries to stretch as you cut it. All right. The hardest part to this one's going to be cutting this little circle out because it's woven. Just take little short scissor bites with it and it should be okay. When you try to take a lot, it just gets distorted. So what this woven's going to do is going to provide a ton of strength between the two layers. So we'll lay down the chop strand first. All right, so that should go there. So we're also going to save this little piece. You guessed it. For the top of that, okay? So see that woven? Some tight woven. So we'll run it in between. All right. So we're going to go this one first. All right. And then we're going to cut a strap for around the cup. And for anybody that doesn't know, that's a plastic cup you use for Cretex for water-soluble paint. That's all that is. See, this will wrap around here, just like that. All right, so you got the woven. Now let's cut a couple strips to go down before and after. Here's that other circle I was looking for. Like I said, I save all the scraps because you can use these later, even if you mix it all together. You can use it to fill in holes. You can use it to reinforce things. Perfect. All right, so now I got that one, and that one. Let's switch those around. Let's do this way. Smaller, medium, bigger. Okay. So I've got those. Let's build the strap for around the cup. If you cut it kind of on a curve to go around that cup, it's going to place itself better. So a little bit of a curve whenever you're going around a circular cylinder that has a taper. See, it's kind of curved. So when you put it on here, it goes around there nice and neat. See that? And we're going to cut that right there. All right, so that's that one. Let's do one more. Save the scraps. All these scraps are going to get saved. In fact, I got a little box, actually. So all these fiberglass pieces will go in a box. This box right here. Got a box today with our parts that we received. So now this new little box, actually it needs to be reinforced. Let me tape this box real quick. But anyway, I'll tape it later. All your scraps, I'm going to save all my fiberglass scraps and put them in this box. And then if I ever need a little bit of chopped fiberglass or anything like that, I just go right in here. All right, so let's cut another strap. That box is going to work out just right. All right, so let's cut that across there. You never waste any of that chop strand because you can always use it on some other job, whether it be big or small. Put that in there. All right, so now we have a second strap and we got that medium, right? All right. So here's how it's going to go. It's going to go this one first, then this one, and this one. All right. So we've got our 3 layers, all this extra. Just kind of put it in the box. Okay, can you guys see all that? Okay, here's what we got. We've got chop strand we're going to put down first. This is a circle. This is the cylinder surrounding. Then we're going to go with a woven. And then for the top to look pretty, we're just going to put this one on there. And you'll never see this. This is on the back side. But anyway, we're putting this down first. That's actually going to be against here. So this is actually the one you're going to see. But the rest of these is for strength. So we're going to do that right now. I'm going to mix up some resin. We're going to make this piece right now. And so if you ever need to make a piece, you can make it on the bench. And then after it sets up, then you can put it in the boat. And we'll show you guys when we do that too. All right, let's mix up some resin. Friday, I've got 100 brushes coming. So I just got to clean this one for the next few days. This is a brand new brush. I just found these on Amazon, not this one. I paid $1.49 for this one, but I found 100 brushes for $37, which makes them right around 30 cents, 38 cents, 37 cents, which makes me happy because $1.49 a brush. I was trying to save a brush, and at 30 something cents, I don't have to save anything. So it won't take too much resin, but we're gonna mix up about 5 ounces, and we're gonna go with 5 ounces for now. Is this resin half full? Yeah, we're half full on resin, which should almost finish our console. I've got a big update on the console. Let's see. I'm not going to mix this too hot. It's warm today. It's 80 something degrees. But we're not going to mix that too hot. But we need enough of it. All right. So make sure you mix that really well. I'm going to go put the rest of this resin up on that console where it needs it. I'll be back. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We got some stuff that came in. We've got our disposable things for our gel coat spray guns. We got our masking tape attached to paper. We got those 100 brushes I was talking about. And then mixing cups with also the mixing sticks. So that way we can mix up certain gel coat. We have a job that came in. So we're going to be doing the bottom of this boat. There's a hole in the center of it. This is a 1996 Bumblebee. We're going to be mixing up some gel coat color to match this gray today. I will include that in the next episode. Might cover a little bit of the repair on this boat. I don't want to get too much into that because we're working on this boat, but this is more of our YouTube project thing. And sometimes just to keep the lights on, we got to take jobs in, like the Jeep. Got a Jeep over there. The lift is going out of here next week. The landlord's going to take that out of here because they're building a building across the street. But other than that, just catch us next Tuesday. So thank you for joining us. And always remember, don't ever be afraid to do a little bit of fiberglass work, because if I can do it, you can do it. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.